the NATO strap, a watch strap that is very popular and well-loved amongst the watch community. This strap, everybody has a NATO strap or two, right? This strap is super popular and it comes included with a lot of different watches out there. You can find them in many colors, many combinations of patterns, etc. This strap is super popular. When I first started wearing watches, I was intrigued by the NATO strap because, again, of its military heritage and the fact that it's just so unique and so different. It's different from a regular two-piece strap. You have to like cinch it up and then you have to like tuck the excess into one end. I knew from the very beginning that a lot of people loved the NATO strap, and I personally wanted to like the NATO strap too. And so I started wearing NATO straps for a lot of my watches in the beginning, and I really wanted to love it. But in the end, I realized like NATO straps are just, they're not for me. Like I really wanted to love it, but I just never got around to actually loving wearing a NATO strap. So right here, I have a black NATO strap with silver hardware on this Citizen ProMaster NY0040. Love this watch. This watch is amazing. And you know, it looks fine, but you know, there's a few cons that I feel like a lot of us can agree with in terms of NATO strap. First off, it's the fact that, let me see if I can show it to the camera. There is 2 layers of fabric that goes underneath the watch. So that makes your watch extra thick. So on this watch right here, it's already pretty big for me, and that will make it look even bigger. So I think this is more so a problem with people like me who have smaller wrists. If you have regular sized wrists, I think you'll be fine. I personally have a 6-inch wrist, which is tiny, right? I agree, it's tiny. And so watches like this, you know, I believe this watch is like 40mm case size, give or take. I could be wrong, but around there. This makes it feel like this case is like maybe 42, 43mm because it's sitting above the wrist so much more. It just makes it look a lot bigger. So that's a problem. And then the second thing is that a lot of times I just find like, you know, these NATO straps, there's just so much excess fabric on the end here. Yeah, there's like one strap on this side, it's super thin, but then when you look over this side, there's like 4 layers of fabric on this side. It's just super imbalanced. I just never really like the look of it, and it just seems like I'm wearing a really, really large watch, right? So I do know that for NATO straps, there are different ways of wearing it. So there are single piece NATO straps out there that don't have this second piece of fabric. Some people also cut this off. And I see that some people also wear it like this. So instead of cinching it up like this, they put their wrists in between here so that it doesn't sit as high on the wrist, which is nice, which is good. But then you also have this problem where, you know, you still have this part at the end where you tuck everything in and it's really thick on one side. I don't know, it just never really seemed to work very well for me. So then recently I actually came across a strap that I found to be super comfortable and really interesting. And I was very surprised that it was, first of all, my first time hearing about it. And I was very surprised that it doesn't really get talked about in the watch community as much. And that is this one right here. This is the Marine Nationale strap. This strap goes by many names. Marine Nationale is, I believe, the official name. Some people also call it the parachute strap. I see it on some websites. They sell this as the single-piece elastic strap. I mean, I guess, you know, when it's not so popular, nobody can really agree on a name for it. And if you call it the parachute strap or the Marine Nationale strap, I feel like it'll be harder to search for, and so people just call it the elastic strap, which makes sense. It is an elastic strap, right? And it's super comfortable because of the fact that it's an elastic strap, and it's just really easy to wear. You know, I was surprised because this strap also has a bit of I believe military heritage, right? So I believe this is from the French Army or the French Marine. And they, you know, basically repurposed a lot of their parachute straps, I guess, with the elastic, and they repurposed it for watchmaking and making watch straps out of it. So it still has that functionality of a NATO, where if one of the spring bars break, your watch will still hang on to the strap and it's not going to just fall off your wrist. It still has that because it does still pass through the bottom of the watch. But it's just so much more comfortable to wear compared to a NATO strap. So let's talk about the differences here. So what essentially is this? So you have a single piece elastic strap that hooks onto one side, and then it just wraps around, and then it goes through that same loop, the same buckle, And then at the end, you have a latch that looks like this. And then on between there, there's this little buckle thing. And this buckle is used for this latch to latch onto. So you can see that on this buckle, it's actually kind of like a slight V shape, and that's allow you to latch the end of the buckle to this part. So how it works is you have to, in order to put your watch in, you have to take the spring bars out. So that's the only difference between this and your NATO NATOs. You don't have to take the spring bars out. You can just feed the strap through. It's very easy to change out your straps. For this one, you do have to put, you have to take out your spring bars in order to get this strap to get in, to fit in, because again, it's attached to one end, right? So you can't really feed it through. So in order to make this a little bit easier for me, I actually used quick release spring bars, so I can just take them off like that, and then I can switch it out and put it on. So you need to take both out. So just to save time, I'm not going to take this one out, but take both out, put your watch in between this connection and also this buckle. Put your watch in, put your spring bars back in, like so. And then once both spring bars are in, your watch is locked in place. Then you put your wrist through the loop. And then, actually, no. Let me clarify. This is actually supposed to be worn this way. So imagine the watch flipped around. I just like it the other way. I'll tell you guys in a bit. But imagine the watch flipped around. You put your wrist through here, and then you cinch it up on the end. And then you just basically take this latch and clip it to the buckle. There you go. Beautiful. It's super comfortable, super lightweight, super easy to wear. It conforms to your wrist. If your wrist, ends up changing sizes throughout the day or throughout the week or month or whatever, based on heat, whatever the case might be, your strap will conform to it because it is elastic, right? So it is, in a way, flexible enough to conform to that. So it's really comfortable to wear. You don't feel, it doesn't really this is not a very good quality elastic. It's not like the seatbelt material or anything like that, but it's still comfortable to wear. This is a very cheap strap that I got from Amazon, but still very comfortable to wear. Like if you rub your hand over it, it's kind of rough, but putting it on the wrist, it feels perfectly fine. It feels super comfortable. So for me, I actually don't like the buckle being on this side. I kind of prefer that this piece being being a little bit thicker, prefer this to be on this side. It just kind of mimics the look of a NATO a little bit more. It's not as thick as the 4 layers of strap on the NATO, but it kind of mimics that look a little bit more. This one just looks kind of like it reversed for me, and I just didn't really like that look. So I took the watch, I flipped it around, and I essentially got this. So I put it in this way, I cinch it up at the bottom, and then I buckle it in on the top. Got to do this off camera, it's a little difficult. There you go. And so now it kind of looks a little bit like a NATO, right? Kind of has that sort of look. Again, super comfortable to wear. I'm not sure why, why don't people talk more about this? This is a great strap. Okay, so in order for you to adjust the length of the strap, it's basically pulling this buckle up to tighten it or down to loosen it. So if you have a larger wrist than me, then you basically take this buckle and you push it down, and that loosens the strap, makes the strap, the loop bigger essentially. And then if you have a small wrist like me, you pull it all the way up to the top or closer to the top to tighten it up, like so. So that's how you loosen and tighten the watch strap. So a few cons though. I mean, this is obviously a great strap and I love it, but a few cons that you do have to be aware of. First and foremost is, I guess it's because this strap is not very popular. You can't really find that many options out there for colors and patterns. So the classic Marine Nationale strap is basically a solid color with a line going through the middle. So oftentimes you'll find, if you look online, you'll find straps that are like that, right? So you have, black, for example, black solid strap with a white line going through it, or maybe it's like green with a red line going through it. You'll find a lot of those. You also find different combinations of either black or silver buckles. But other than that, solid color wise, there's really not that many. I saw a black one. I saw this green one. I saw a blue one, a navy blue one. But aside from that, there wasn't really that many options for solid colors. I wanted to find a khaki colored strap, solid color, khaki colored strap, with black buckles. And I think that would look great with this watch. But I couldn't find one. I did see one with a stripe to the middle, but I prefer a solid color. I don't want the stripe to the middle. So yeah, it's difficult to find a lot of options out there. If you want to look for any other patterns and stuff like that, I mean, good luck, because there's really not that many out there. I think I did see a Bond pattern, a Bond, like the Bond NATOs. Yeah, there's really not that many out there. So if you want a lot of different options or patterns and whatnot, this strap may be very limiting. The NATO, you can find a lot of those. Like there's patterns for, like there's so many patterns that you can find out there. But for this, it's quite limiting. The second thing I do want to note is that if you do put a heavier watch on this strap, say for example, if I put the Citizen watch, stainless steel, if I put it onto this strap, it's still going to work, but it does feel a little bit more top heavy. So because this is elastic, when you're wearing it, it feels like it kind of bobbles a little bit back and forth. I'm kind of exaggerating here. It's really not that much. But it, when you're wearing it, it just feels like it's a little bit top heavier. So I think this watch strap works best with smaller watches, or it works best with titanium watches. So right here I have the Boulder Venture, the Black Dawn edition. This one is a titanium watch, and so it's super light. And so with this strap, the whole package becomes super lightweight, and it just almost like, as cliche as it sounds, disappears on your wrist. So yeah, so that it fits great for that. And I think the last thing I do want to note as a con is that if you, let me just wipe the watch a little bit. There's smudges on there. If you have a smaller wrist like I do, you may also have a difficult time finding a strap that will work for you. So I don't think there's a lot of measurements out there for these straps. I don't know if I'm not entirely sure, but I didn't really notice a very clear-cut measurement for these straps. And even if you do have a measurement, how can you measure it? Like, do you measure it based off of the strap not attached to the end here? Do you just like somehow cut this off and lay it flat? Or do you measure it like this? Like, how does the measurement, I don't know. I don't know exactly how the measurement work. I think it's difficult finding a measurement for this strap. And I don't think a lot of companies will write the measurements for these straps. So when I was shopping for these straps, I actually found a lot of people reviewing them, on the comment section of, say, the Amazon page, for example, saying that this strap is too long for their wrists, or too long in general. It doesn't fit their wrists. And this one that I found, this green one that I found, again, it's on Amazon. It wasn't a very expensive strap. People were saying that this one is too small, right? This one is too small. And so I was like, you know what? It's too small. Perfect. It'll work on my wrist, right? So I got it and ended up putting it on. And even with this so-called smaller strap, you can tell that the buckle is pretty much at the top of the watch already. So this is pretty much at its maximum tightness, or its minimum size, essentially. If you were to have a smaller wrist than mine, you might not be able to get this any further. Like, this is the tightest you can go. So it might not work for you if you have a smaller wrist than mine. So it is kind of a gamble. You kind of have to, buy one and then try it and see if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you might have to make sure that wherever you're buying it from can accept a return. Because it might not work for every small wrist out there. If you have a normal size wrist, say 7 inches, whatnot, there's not going to be a problem for you. I'm pretty sure every single one will fit for you. But if you have a smaller wrist like mine or smaller than mine, you might have to shop around and maybe experiment a little bit. But yeah, overall, this is a fantastic strap, super comfortable to wear. Again, it has the same functionality, has the same heritage, history as the NATO watch. Not sure why this strap isn't as popular. I think it's more comfortable. I think it fits better, and I think overall it's just a better strap than the NATO. But for some reason, there doesn't really get a lot of love. So let's pay more attention to this strap. And I'm starting to see that there are more watches out there that are that are accompanied by the strap. Some watch companies are actually selling their watches with a strap, so that's a good thing. So let's keep that up, and let's bring the Marine Nationale strap to the top of the strap tier. So, anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.